open question. Who wants to take this hot potato? The board is responsible for the superintendent. What can be done to terminate the contract of the current superintendent?
I'll be happy to answer that question. We need a board majority. If we get a board majority, then I think we can do something. Pardon? I believe what I can safely say right now is that yes, we can terminate the contract, and no, we don't have to be responsible for any severance pay or anything like that. Pardon? I don't think so. Well, without speaking with an attorney, I really think that I believe with the board majority there is something we can do. And that's the first cut that I would do if re-elected.
Why does he have a contract?
Let me jump in here a little bit with that. Contracts usually have termination clauses in them. I believe if everybody went on the school district's website or went to a website with www.citizensforusa.com, if you look at the contract and you read it, and I would advise everybody to look into it, there's usually clauses for termination. There's usually things on that side that fall into play. It would take the like-minded people to be on a board and to look into it to take care of resolving accountability issues like this. I think we need to hold people accountable. That presentation that we just saw that was done by Liberty Mutual, if you looked at the years on that presentation, it clearly showed that the district, when it was actually having less debt, because I wrote it down, I was looking at it, when we had less debt was prior to the hiring of the current superintendent. They just did that. We just saw it. I know it was really fast. I think Americans for Prosperity said that we can go back and we'll be able to look at it. You could look at that detail a little bit more detailed to actually see some of the problems. If you compare the charts, we need accountability. We need people that will put this district, move it forward, and hold people accountable. It's not just one person holding people accountable, and it's everybody. I mean, the teachers are accountable for education. The superintendent is accountable for being our chief financial officer. And when people do contracts, they look at the vested interests of both sides. We have school attorneys. Our attorney has to represent us in those contracts. So they're looking at the school's contracts and making sure that they're protecting the school district when they're hiring an employee. So they usually give ways that you can look into and you can pursue in the future. I'm not an attorney, so I can't speak as an attorney. But I think we could look into that a little bit more detailed, and you need to, as a citizen taxpayer, read the contract for yourself, look at it. It's public information, it's out there.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes, I've seen the superintendent's contracts being bought out. I've seen them where they were just shut down. It gets into a little attorney negotiation. You need an attorney to negotiate it a little bit for you, and you just got to give them the direction in which you want to go, and then they'll negotiate it, and they can negotiate it down to maybe just the finishing of this year's salary or some other kind of thing like that. Yes, it might cost a little bit, but then again, it may be well worth what it costs us to get the school district back online. The whole thing is, it comes down to having a good attorney do your negotiations for you if you want to terminate the superintendent.
Let me just follow up with that too, and Jan, you can also address this since you're on the board. The attorney, a lot of talk about the school superintendent, but the attorney often represents the administration in opposition to the school board, right? What is the feeling of the candidates here about the legal representation the school board currently has?
Okay, those are two different questions. Can I finish answering the question about the superintendent? On my website, writeinjanet.hughes.com, I do have the superintendent's contract posted. I also link to the meeting minutes back in 2008, which show which board members approved that contract. I also link to the, it's called the administrative salary report that is actually required only of administrators that hold a Type 75 certificate that are employed in that capacity. However, on the district's website, they have the teachers' salaries posted too. So I thought that was kind of odd. Why would all the teachers' salaries be posted? Even though I think it's public information, yes. But the law of Public Act 96/0434 does require the superintendents and all the other administrators that hold the Type 75 certificate, which are your principals and your superintendent and assistant superintendents. But also I'd like to say that that report is supposed to itemize the different benefits, such as how much money is paid toward the pension, how much money is paid towards health insurance, if there's any travel allowance. But according to the report that's posted on the District 113A website, it doesn't itemize that. It clumps it all into one special category. So it's very hard to tell how much money is really being spent on the benefits. And I was shocked to see that the superintendent's salary actually went up. But when I looked at the list that includes teachers, I saw teachers on the list that were let go this year. So I think it's an old list. It doesn't have a date on it, but check it out. I linked to it on the website. But the contract does have in the language a cause for dismissal. So I don't think there is room for negotiations if there is cause. And I also link on the website, writeinjanet.hughes.com, the two different budgets. When I was elected in 2009, we passed a budget. And in that budget, or on that budget, it's posted on the District 113A website. That budget needs to be submitted to the State Board of Education, which is then posted on the Illinois State Board of Education website. They list all the district budgets. But what we found was that the budget that was approved by our board, that was to be posted on the 113A website, was different from the budget posted on the State Board of Ed website. So I've been trying to find out why that occurred and who's responsible for it. Because what they did was that they zeroed out all the negative fund balances. Wow. Magically erased them and made them zero. Who did that? Who's responsible for that? Well, I believe we need to hold our chief operating officer responsible.
And just a point of clarification, I read a Tribune story that said the superintendent here made more than the superintendent in the Naperville School District. Well, yeah, probably doing a better job.
Well, according to the salary that's posted on the 113A website, our district superintendent is making more than the governor.
How much does he make?
170. Okay. Anybody want to tackle my law firm question?
Oh yes, the law firm. Oh, this is another good